As my troubles left me weary of the strife, it came to me to commit a murder. The Devil's Bath is a Shudder original from the writer-director team of Goodnight Mommy and The Lodge. If you have not seen this movie, please check out The Lodge. It is definitely an atmospheric mindfuck with a tremendous lead performance from Riley Keough and two really creepy kids. Also, Alicia Silverstone is in this, believe it or not. She ain't in it for long, but she's in it. Sorry, that's probably a minor spoiler. Anyway, if you like The Lodge, then check out The Devil's Bath. This is set in 1750 Austria. It's based on historical records from that time period and centers around a woman named Agnes, played by Anja Plascha. I'm pretty certain I probably just totally butchered that, but she delivers quite the powerful lead performance as a woman that's very devout religiously and gets married to a man named Wolf, who is hungry like the wolf, hungry for a wife, lives close to his mother, and they have a nice house, literally in a hillside. I mean, honestly, it just looks like they actually dug out the hill and put the house complete right there and said, yeah, great, as long as a landslide or an earthquake or basically any kind of natural disaster doesn't occur, it'll be fine. This house right in the hillside will be fine. So Agnes wants to treat her husband right. She wants to have a baby, she wants to have a family, as any woman would. And since this is set in 1750 Austria, a lot of forestry and a lot of long walks just to get to a fishing hole, get food, get to fellow people that live in the village. There's a lot of distance, there's a lot of dreariness, there's a lot of atmospheric shots, a lot of great cinematography, and I do want to once again praise the performance of Anya as Agnes, because she really has to carry this goddamn movie. Now, that's no disrespect to the man that plays Wolf, David Shedd, who actually is pretty good as well, but he's not given as much to do. The one that plays the mother, she's actually not all that bad, and she does add a few layers to this particular story, but really what it is about is Agnes's slow and then sudden descent into goddamn madness. Being isolated, being, maybe not true to herself, not getting what she wants out of life, or maybe just being fucked up in the goddamn head, and maybe the environment is playing with her head. Because, based on historical records from Austria 1750, there's no real way to talk to anybody that was back there from that time period, because oh boy, that certainly would be interesting. My God, they would be almost as old as Zoe Stark. That is a deep cut for wrestling fans, and people are going to hate me if they know what I'm talking about. So yeah, it starts out with something really fucked up, and then something really fucked up happens shortly after. And then it goes the slow burn route where we see the setup between Agnes and Wolf, their marriage, and interactions between, various villagers, centers around just these particular three people that I mentioned, and a few peripheral characters that do serve a purpose. It is definitely a strange movie, is a bizarre movie. How bizarre, how bizarre? Well, every time I look around, slow burning stuff in my face. I don't know why I feel the need to reference that OMC song, but let's just roll with it. And Agnes starts to gradually have issues with this marriage. She's not getting what she wants out of it. And from there, we have a psychologically damning and psychologically damaging and pretty horrific descent into madness. Some really, really good camera work here. And again, a great lead performance by Agnes. I'm going to get into spoilers here in a bit, but really that's the baseline of it. But when it wants to not pull its punches, it basically says, okay, you think that we're going too slow burn, we're going to show you this and this. And then once it kicks it into gear, it really does do some great stuff. I don't know if this is quite as good as so many of the critics have been saying. I don't know, that's just my personal opinion. I think The Lodge was better. I think Goodnight Mommy was better, not the remake. Jesus fucking Christ, that was really, really bad. I'm talking about the original. But The Devil's Bath does offer a nice look, and actually a pretty, crazy look, and, a hard to watch look at, how life was back in Austria in the 1750s, and how some societies still don't see women as equal. So there's a little bit of social commentary there. But Anya, as Agnes, does a great job here. I mean, really, there's a couple scenes where she is just absolutely losing it, having to go balls to the wall here. And I will take this kind of descent into madness over some of the more mainstream horror movies that I've seen this year and even in previous years. So, Not exactly perfect, some issues, but definitely worth checking out. So it's on Shudder if you want to watch it. Shudder is a great horror streaming service. But I'm going to get into spoilers. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers now. There we go. So, yeah. Agnes's never-ending cycle starts with a woman that basically takes a crying child and is walking through the woods, puts a necklace on, and then drops it down a waterfall, and it dies. As hilarious as it would have been for the child to come back as a zombie, a waterlogged zombie, we aren't getting that kind of horror movie here. And then she goes to the priest or the church, says, I committed a crime. The dreary landscape actually is quite haunting and beautiful. And then we get the text that I said in the beginning. And then there's a wedding ceremony part where they swing at a chicken planted in the ground or put in a hole in the ground. I don't know why. I guess Austrians were really weird back in the 1700s, aka the 18th century. And then we see that Agnes already isn't happy with the house, but she's like, okay, I'm going to make the most of this. There's a point where somebody gives her a finger that says, soon you will be with child. Somebody's finger. Oh, yes, and by the way, the person that dropped the baby down the waterfall actually was executed. She had her head chopped off and was left at an altar. We find that out a little bit later. And Agnes being very devout, obviously there is foreshadowing here. You want to be devout and, close to your God, whatever God it is, whatever floats your boat, you weirdos. I don't really care for religion, quite frankly, but as long as you don't use it as a tool of hate like some people do, that's great. But deeply unsettling stuff. I mean, very deeply unsettling. Like, just the way it's shot and the way it actually feels like, some of like too much of this shit actually did occur, not just in Austria, but surrounding areas, and even, Salem witch trials, all that stuff. It's nuts. So, I at one point, there was a catfish that was found while they were fishing, and she does a prayer, a long prayer. I guess catfishes are seen as holy? I don't know how catfishes appeared in Australia, but I don't know enough about the animal life there. Mother's a bit overbearing. Wolf doesn't, take care of her needs, but takes care of his own needs. I don't know why the hell you wouldn't do that. Like, seriously, Anya's an attractive woman, but regardless, you marry somebody, you need to take care of their needs as much as you want them to take care of yours. And it's a very cramped church during one of the scenes. And there's a guy named Lenz that couldn't take it anymore and hung himself. That's never the answer, by the way. I just want to say that. I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just saying that's never the answer. And then he's considered a lost soul. He's actually put out in this field. He can't be buried. He did not appreciate the life that God gave him. And the mother basically realizes that there's a rapid descent going on here with Agnes. And the mother says to Wolf, you should have married a local girl. See, we never actually find out, all this stuff about, Agnes. We don't find out a ton beyond, interpretation and emotions and inflections on the face. Agnes really starts to lose it. Very distant, not herself. At one point, she takes rat poison because she wants to die. Before that, we see like a bathhouse, so to speak, where a doctor uses leeches, and then also takes a wire and puts it through her neck and does like this, and it's like a wire that goes back here, and it made me uncomfortable because I'm like, ah. But it's to seep the poison out. What poison? Oh. It was Austria in the 1700s. I mean, what the hell do you want me to say? So, she took a baby from near the stream, that somebody left, either as a sacrifice or we're not sure, because it's similar to what happened in the beginning of the movie. You're supposed to put it back. Can't take a baby. And, yeah, she puts it back and they find the baby. Who left it there? Genuine question. That's what I want to know. But then she goes down into this cave system, seemingly having this dream, this fever dream. Has a baby that's all wax. It's a doll. And she's freaking out. So she says, fetch the priest because I want to confess. I want to die. Wolf basically tries to make her throw up the goddamn rat poison. He can't take it anymore. He takes her back to where she came from. And there's this overriding theme of butterflies popping around, and she eats a butterfly at one point. Again, weird shit going on here. And then she takes the boy to the shrine, showing her where the shrine is, to pray. And then she attacks the boy and kills him, because we find out why a little bit later, like why this happened. And if you study up on this stuff, actually it does make a lot more sense. It kicks in at the end, and then you realize all this stuff actually meant something. But she kills this boy, and the reason she did, she confessed her sins. She did it to absolve him of his sins, but also because she wanted to die. She knew she couldn't end her life, because then her soul would be damned, but this way she wouldn't be condemned to hell. Even though you're not supposed to kill somebody, but whatever, religion is fucked up no matter what country and what, devotion there is. So she laughs maniacally after being absolved of her sins, and she then is put to death. Guy chops her head off, and the villagers drink her blood. While a little girl watches this, and seemingly maybe he's going to do the same thing later in her life. I don't know. It's a never-ending cycle. And speaking of never-ending cycles, people did this. They would commit murders to avoid ending their life, and then, numerous cases, not just in Austria, but surrounding areas and everything, and it was an epidemic. It was nuts. So, yeah, there we go. Definitely strange. Definitely a movie that I will remember. I don't know if I'm going to watch it again. I'll probably watch The Lodge again before I watch this, because it is uncomfortable at times. But it does make a whole lot of sense, because it shows how people just would do anything to avoid a certain fate, even if it meant leaving a stain on their life while they're here. You can't scrub out the goddamn stain, though. You're not supposed to kill. You're just not supposed to kill. Not supposed to end your life. Not supposed to kill. Yeah. A minus for the performance by Anya and the cinematography and everything. But it just misses out on the A+ thing, because I just feel that there was a bit of unevenness. You could have cut out maybe 20 minutes, even though it all made sense in the end. I think you still could have cut some time here, because I think it got a little bit long in the tooth, as the kids say. I don't think the kids have ever said that. Nevertheless, A-. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.